Hello, so a question that often crops up about new shoes is how long they're going to last, especially these new very expensive carbon fiber plated racing shoes like the Next Percent, Endorphin Pro, and of course now the Alphafly, the Asics Meta Racer. If I can get a hold of one, that's the sore point. See my other video on that. I've now used 4 pairs of Next Percent, 3 in the size 13 and 1 in the size 12. So I thought what I'd do today is have a look at the 3 of the 13, go for a run in each one, and remind myself how each one is shaping up. Now, one of them has done 250 miles, the other one's just done just over 100, and the other one I barely started has literally done 5 miles. So let's have a quick look at them now and see how they look, and then we'll go for a run and see how they feel. So here are the 3 Next Percent pairs. The newest one is the left one here. That's done just about 5 miles literally. This is the one I use for my marathon. That's done now 100 miles. And this one is the first pair of 13s I've got, which have done 250 miles. So if we look at the back of the new one, you can see that looks pretty much as new there. The black plastic, no sign of degradation at all. Just a bit of dirt from the road run I've done in them so far. And on the front, they look pretty much as new to me. If we contrast that with the oldest pair, now the back of them doesn't feel too bad. The only obvious sign of wear I can see at the top there, where I sort of toe off, is certainly a bit of degradation in the rubber, but it still looks pretty good. Hardly any evidence at all that I've been landing on the back there much at all, really, is there? Could do with a bit of a clean, but other than that, not looking too bad. Same for the side profile there. Now if we look at the white ones, which have done about 100 miles, the biggest problem here from a cosmetic point of view is that the Nike swoosh is falling off. Now you might argue that that's not doing really much at all for the actual performance of the shoe, and if that comes off it might save me a gram or two. But other than that, again, it's looking pretty good from a side profile. If we look at the back, it's a bit hard to tell because it's all in the white rather than the black, but I can sort of start to see a bit of wearing on toe off there, but not too bad. Again, could do with a bit of a clean. A few sort of possible puncture marks there, possibly in the middle, but not looking too bad, I have to say. So I've put the newest one on the left and the oldest one on the right just to see how they feel walking about. And to be honest, they can't feel any difference at the moment just walking about. I'm going to go for a warm-up run in this configuration here and see if I can actually see any difference when I'm actually running. At least with the green and the sort of green one, it's not so obvious I'm wearing different shoes as it was to the white and the green. But I'll probably get funny looks anyway. I always do anyway. For being so tall and thin, can't really avoid it. So I'm now outside, as you can obviously see, with these 2 shoes on. One of each pair, the new one on the left and the older one on the right. So just walking around, perhaps in hindsight, I should have got my wife to put these shoes on blindfolded and carry myself out without even seeing which one was each one and see if I could guess which one was that. I might have to do that later. I can't imagine she would be too impressed by that idea. But just walking around, obviously I know which one's which, but they do feel just as squishy. You kind of thought normally in most shoes that the cushioning starts to go, and after 250 miles I'd certainly be looking to retire a shoe. Whereas the one on the right, which is the older one, still feels really squishy, which is quite nice. So let's just start running now in a minute and see if I can actually detect any difference. So I run about half a mile now at sort of a fairly steady pace. I think if you put the 2 shoes on without me noticing, I would really struggle to notice any difference. Maybe the new one just feels slightly firmer, very slightly maybe. But I think I'm just trying to get some perception difference, just to tell you. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to put the older one back on the left foot and run in my sort of 2 mile standard testing loop. Each of the 3 shoes, starting off with the older one, go to the 100-mile white one, and finish off with the new one. Try and run them all about the same pace. I'll just go whatever pace I feel like going after the first run, and see if I can detect any difference in any of the metrics or RPE or anything like that. But just doing that little jog around the block, the 250-mile shoe seems still pretty good for a good few miles yet. But we shall see later on. Okay, bye. Okay, run done in the 250-mile Next Percents. Well, 252 miles now. That wasn't too bad. I think I averaged 620 there,
which is perhaps a bit quicker than I thought I was going to do. If it was going to like 7-minute mile pace, so it kind of just shows you when you put these shoes on, you end up going faster than you want to, perhaps, or even think you can. That's not flat out though, but that's certainly quicker than my half marathon pace in January, when I averaged more like 6:30s, I think, for a high 1:24. So right, I get the white ones on now, which are the sort of the just over 100-mile ones, which I actually did that half marathon in, and also my marathon in Seville in February, and a few Strava segment blasts. Okay, the white one's done 100 miles plus another 2 miles now. If anything, they felt slightly firmer than the 250-mile ones. So that was interesting. I did that almost identical time because I set race and activity on my Garmin to do it from the first run. So I was all the way around, I was just a few seconds ahead. I think I finished up about 3 or 4 seconds ahead at the end. So I'd say that's pretty much an even effort. I felt like it was sort of easy for the first mile, and then it's quite muggy and warm tonight. So I think the heart rate may have got a bit higher just because I'm getting a bit warmer now. So interesting to try on these nearly new ones now and see if there's any difference. I'm going to keep it to the same effort, or the same time anyway, and see how it shapes up. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, all hot and sweaty, and so I've done the last one. Got those 3 pretty much identical, I think within 5 or 6 seconds each one. The last one in the newer pair, bizarrely, they felt like the middle between the very soft first ones in the green ones and the slightly harder ones, the white ones in the middle. So didn't really expect that at all. I can't really say that I enjoyed any one more than the other one. The effort was all pretty much the same. I suppose if anything, psychologically, with a new pair on your feet, you kind of feel like you get a bit of a boost. Looking at my heart rate there, I actually dropped 2 beats on the white pair, but I was about 7 seconds slower. I think my GPS played off a bit, and then the first one I was about the same heart rate, but I was a bit warmer obviously on the last 2. So an interesting little test, but I think the general message I found from that is that new pair out of the box, 100-mile pair or 250-mile pair, as long as you don't trash them, they're all working pretty well. And I think the 250-mile pair I can get a bit more use out of for sure. Whether I actually take it to a race, again because of the psychological effect of wearing a newer shoe, it's a question. So maybe my next hard one will need to be in the newer one. And those white ones with the Nike swoosh falling off maybe back for training. But anyway, there's no races yet anyway, are there? So it doesn't really matter. But interesting little test, I hope you thought. And hope you found it interesting as ever. And look forward to seeing you on the next one. Okay, bye.